Hogwarts is so beautiful. It's full of candles and everything. Whenever I think of the Dursleys, it reminds me that moment when one day we were having breakfast, and my Uncle Vernon told Dudley to go get the mail. But Dudley quickly replied for me to go and get it, and so I had to go and get it. And when I was going through the mail, I saw an envelope that said, "To Mr. H. Potter." I started slowly opening it in the kitchen. But sadly, Dudley saw me and told Uncle Vernon, and he snatched it away from me, and I was so close to opening it and seeing what was written there. Then there were so many that were coming, and Uncle Vernon got so mad that they wouldn't stop coming that we had to move. We moved to a lighthouse next to the sea, and it was the day of my birthday, and at night I was counting 20, 19, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1 there was a blast. Boom! The door fell open. A really big, a little bit overweight man with a huge beard came rushing in. And when he came in, he accidentally confused me with Dudley. But after I told him that I was Harry Potter, not Dudley. And he started explaining me all about Hogwarts and everything, and why I'm famous, and who I actually am. But in the middle of the conversation, Uncle Vernon bursted out and said, "I forbid you to tell the boy anything." But Hagrid got so mad. He shouted at them, and he got so over-tempered that at one point he got out his pink umbrella and said, "Never! Albus Dumbledore in front of me!" And Dudley had a pink tail at the back. It was a pig's tail. And then Uncle Vernon got very scared and took Aunt Petunia and Dudley away from the room. And he continued explaining me. And he told me that the spell still didn't quite work, because he meant to turn Dudley into a pig. But he said that Dudley looked so much like a pig there wasn't much left to do. We burst out into laughter. He said that I had to get some sleep, because the next day we would have to go and get a lot of my stuff for Hogwarts. And I finally got to open my letter. The next day, when I woke up, I thought it was all a dream, that there was a giant called Hagrid that came, and I thought I was back in my cupboard. And I thought there was Aunt Petunia knocking on the door. I got up, but to my surprise, Hagrid was still sleeping there on the couch. And an owl was knocking. I woke up Hagrid, and he told me to get his coat and get a few nuts for the letter. And so I did. When we went to London to get all my stuff. And we went to this wall that if Hagrid wouldn't show me it, I wouldn't even notice it. Actually, I had a feeling that only me and Hagrid could see it. First, we got my books, then we got my clothes, my robes. We got everything on the list. But after, the last thing that was left was to get my wand, which I was most excited about. When we came into the shop, there was no one there sitting, but in front of me after came a man. He was quite weird, and he just popped out and said, "Hello, I thought I was seeing you soon. You're Harry Potter." And I said yes. I didn't know if I quite liked him or not. Then we started looking for the right wand for me. It took the piles of boxes that were opened up, kept piling up and up. And finally, this wand that you know who used to have, that's the one that was for me. It was very weird, and he kept saying, "Mysterious, very mysterious, curious." I asked what's curious, and he explained me that it used to be Voldemort's wand. And I was very surprised. Then Hagrid got me a train ticket that in a few months' time, on September the 1st, I would be heading to Hogwarts at King Cross train. I was very excited. I went back to the Dursleys, and only when it was, and before that, Hagrid gave me for my birthday an owl, and it was a snowy white, beautiful owl, which I named it Hedwig, after the History of Magic book. And it was beautiful. I thanked him and told him that he didn't have to. But he knew that he didn't have to, but he just wanted to make me a surprise. He also gave me a chocolate cake with blue frosting written, "Happy Birthday, Harry Potter." When I left for the train, I went back to the Dursleys. And finally, it was my last month with the Dursleys. And it didn't go actually quite well. They didn't talk to me at all. Dudley, which was so terrified, wouldn't even stay in the same room with me now. And Aunt Petunia or Uncle Vernon would not talk to me. And it was August, the last day of August. And I knew I had to talk to Uncle Vernon, so he would take me to King Cross, so I could get my train to Hogwarts. And so I did go. And I told Mr. Dursley my platform number, and he told me that it didn't exist. And he wanted to take me then after so badly. And he said that he was going to London anyway to take Dudley to the hospital to get rid of that pig's tail. And so when he took me to platform 9 and 10, but in the middle there was nothing, only a wall. And so I did wait until this group of people, red-haired, came passing, and I accidentally heard their conversation. And I asked the kind woman to tell me how to get to platform 9 3/4. And she showed me. And she also had a son that was also first years like me. And when I got into the train, I found an empty place, and I sat there all alone. And I was hearing the Weasleys' conversation, well, the red-haired people. And they had such a nice family. They had an older brother, 2 twins, and the youngest one, and a young girl, which was she was too young to go to Hogwarts. And so the twins came to me and just asked me if I was Harry Potter because they saw my scar accidentally. And I told them that I was. They left quickly. And after, the youngest one, Ron, came to me because there wasn't another empty place. So I allowed him to be with me. He kept staring in the window because he thought he was talking too much. But I didn't think that. And then I heard this boy coming in. He was talking about his toe, that he lost it. Ron told me that if he would lose it, if he had a toad with him, he would lose it as fast as he could. And then a girl also came with him the next time, asking us again about the toad. We answered again, telling them that we haven't seen any toad. And a woman with a tray came to us and asked if we wanted any sweets. Me, when I never had any breakfast or never had pocket money to get any candy, I jumped up and got everything on the tray because everything on the tray was new. And Ron brought 4 sandwiches. And so I told him, you don't need to eat those sandwiches. You can share with me. And so we did. We had so much fun talking. And after we got dressed into our robes, when we got there, Hagrid was calling out, "First years, come to me, first years." And Hagrid took us to a bunch of boats, and I had my own boat. We sailed to Hogwarts. We could see Hogwarts. It was so beautiful, full of candles. We finally arrived, and Hagrid asked, "Is this toad yours?" And the boy was so happy. Yes, that's my toad. I finally found it. And that's when we came to Hogwarts.